Hey guys, it's Wendy here with Wendy's Plans, and today I am going to be completing the My 100 list. I'm not going to complete every 100 because this is going to be my reading list for 2020. I want to apologize for my voice. I do have bronchitis, but I wanted to get this filmed. So if this is something you would like to see, please stay tuned. So guys, I thought I would, and I'll probably speed this up as I'm writing. I'm just going to name it Books to Read. So I've got a list over to the side, and I thought as I went through and was writing these books that I would tell you a little bit about why I want to read them and that kind of thing, who the author is. And so this order is not going to be a list of in any particular order. There is a checkbox, so as I read them, I will check them off. I'm going to try it in my fountain pen. I'm hoping it's fine enough that I can get the whole title in here. So the first one is going to be A Discovery of Witches. And that is by Deborah Harkness, and it is a series of books. The second one is Shadow of a Night. The third one is called The Book of Life. Her fourth one that just came out, which is a standalone, if I'm not mistaken, is called Times Convert. And those are also, the first three books are in a mini-series, not a mini-series, a series called A Discovery of Witches, and it is through a British, and you can see it in the United States, and I want to say it's through Sundance, the series, but the series is awesome, I will say that. The next one is going to be The Dressmaker's Gift, and that is by Fiona Valpy. I don't know a lot about this one. I will tell you a lot of the books that I have put on my list are from books that I've heard recommended from What Should I Read Next podcast. Number 6 is When We Believed, in Mermaids. And that is by Barbara O'Neill. She also did one, and I'm reading two from her. Sometimes I can read one and say I really like the author, and then the second one I'm like, not so much. Or the first one I will be not so. So I'm trying to give, when I pick an author, I try to give them two books. And the second one is called The Art of Inheriting Secrets. Yeah, I thought I was writing something different. Okay, so those two again were recommended off of What Should I Read Next podcast. Then the next one, I have been wanting to see The Handmaid's Tale. I have not, so I decided I would read it. And there is a sequel to that called The Testaments. And these are by Margaret Atwood. The next one that I saw just intrigued me. I want to read is called The Witch's Daughter. And that is by Paula Braxton. Then the next is going to be a series of books by Louise Penny, and they were highly recommended, and they're the Gamache series. So I'm just going to list all of those, and I probably will not talk while I'm listing all of these, and I may speed this up. So the books that I just listed was Still Life, A Fatal Grace, The Cruelest Month, A Rule Against Murder, The Brutal Telling, Bury Your Dead, A Trick of Light, The Beautiful Mystery, How the Light Gets In, The Long Way Home, The Nature of the Beast, A Great Reckoning, Glass Houses, Kingdom of the Blind, and A Better Man. So those are all called the Gamache series by Louise Penny. The next group that I am going to read is called, they're by Robert Galbraith, Galbraith, and that is the pseudonym for J.K. Rowling. And so I wanted to read these. These were highly recommended also. The first one is called The Cuckoo's Calling. The next one is called The Silkworm. Career of Evil. And Lethal White. And that's the last one in the series so far. I'm not sure if she'll be writing anymore, or I'm just not sure. This is a new group for me. I have heard some people like her writing as Galbraith, and some people do not. So it's going to be interesting. I did not put down the first book in this series because I have already read it, but I may go back and reread it when I start this series, and it's called You Before Me, not Me Before You, and it is by Jojo Moyes, and I have read that one, but I think I may go back and reread that. And then the third one is in that series is After You. So I really want to read those. This her writing can really be very emotional. And I read that one a couple of years after my husband passed, Me Before You. And oh my gosh, oh, it was just such a good book. But I have put off reading the others because I knew it was heart wrenching. So the next one is called The Man in the High Castle. Now, this has been, I'm not sure which premium channel, if it was HBO or I'm not sure which one, has run this as a series. The next sequence is by Jacqueline Winspear, and it's the Maisie Dobbs books. And again, I'm going to write all these and then I will tell you the names. Okay, so the Maisie Dobbs series is Maisie Dobbs, Birds of a Feather, Pardonable Lies, Message of Truth, An Incomplete Revenge, Among the Mad, The Mapping of Love and Death, A Lesson in Secrets, Elegy for Eddie. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be eulogy, but I wrote it down on my list as elegy for Eddie. Leaving Everything Most Loved, A Dangerous Place, Journey to Munich, In This Grave Hour, To Die But Once. And then again, the last one I put down is The America Agent, but I think it might have been The American Agent. I will update these when I can. Okay, so the next one is going to be Station 11. And this one is by Emily St. John Mandel. And that one I have on her podcast. If you're not familiar with her podcast, she has a guest on each week. And they give 3 books they like, 1 book they hate, and then she gives recommendations. I have heard her recommend it, and I've had some of her guests have recommended this book. So I really want to read that. Another very popular one was All the Light We Cannot See. and that is by Anthony Doerr. And that one has been highly, highly touted also. Number 50 is, I didn't mean for it to land this way, but it fell this way, and I'm so excited. This is going to be Golden in Death. And this is part of the In Death series by Nora Roberts, which is written under J.D. Robb. And that's going to be her 50th book in that series. So I'm so excited to read that one. And then later on in the year, I think it's going to be in September, Shadows in Death comes out. And that's also by her. Now, staying in with Nora Roberts, I'm going to read Year One. I'm going to be honest, I've already read it, but I will go back and reread it. And the second one is Of Blood and Bone. And the third in that series I'm finishing up right now, so I can check this one off because it is in 2020, is The Rise of Magic. She will also have another book coming out under Nora Roberts called Hideaway. And I really want to read that one. The next one's going to be a new author to me again, which I am going to read 2 of her books because some people like her, some people don't. It's called Magic Hour, and that's by Kristen Hanna. And The Nightingale. The Nightingale was really, everybody says that's their favorite out of this author. So that brings me to 57. That leaves me open 43 more books that I can read and pick up during the year. So I'm going to leave them open. It also gives me the opportunity that if I want to go back and read more books that I have read in the past. Another thing that I do, and you will see by everything being grouped by authors, is when I find an author that I like, I tend to go back and read everything that they have done. So I have read A Discovery of Witches, Shadow of Night, and I just last night or the night before finished The Book of Life. Awesome, awesome series. So I can check off this one for 2020, but I will go back and read these 2 again, and I have the Times Convert. I'm going to tell you guys something. I do not go out on a limb and say a book is awesome. A lot. I love every book that I read, but I will tell you, I was very hesitant to start A Discovery of Witches. My best friend at work, her name is Liz. She's my best friend. It's not just at work. I love Liz, and she has been trying for a long time to get me to read A Discovery of Witches. She has talked about this series and talked about it. We read similar books, but we read a lot of different books. I just didn't think this was a book that I was going to like. Then it was talked about a lot on the podcast again. And I was like, well, maybe it's time for me to give it a chance. I have read A Discovery of Witches. I've watched the first season of A Discovery of Witches, and I have listened to it on Audible. I have read Shadow of a Night. I'm almost through with it on Audible. I've already downloaded The Book of Life that I will listen to on Audible, and then I've already purchased Times Convert. Guys, I love this series, and I can't even tell you why. It is just a wonderful, wonderful series of books. I will tell you, A Discovery of Witches, when I first started reading it, to me, the first 3 chapters, I was like, what are you doing reading this book? I could not get into it. Not that I couldn't get into it. It was really slow for me. But after the third, 4th chapter, I was hooked. I'm telling you guys, I Love it. Anyway, I'm just telling you, that is my favorites all time so far of 2020. Just saying. So, guys, I hope you liked this, my 100 list. I've got more lists and more books, but I haven't figured out what I'm going to do on those. So, guys, leave down below a book that you like. I would love to read it. Something that, one of your all-time favorites. It doesn't have to be your favorite, but leave a link below or a message below of what your favorite book is, because I might be able to read it. So until next time, guys, bye-bye.